Hi, feel free to check the timestamps in the description box below to escalate through different topics in the video. Oh भाई मैं extension cord फिर से order करना भूल गई हूँ. If you're somebody who struggles to ask for help, then you're also probably somebody who keeps terms like self-made or self-sufficient on a pedestal, which is fine. I did too. But the older you get, the more you realize that these terms have no depth to them. Like, there are a lot of individuals that we see in society today that are addressed as self-made, but if it weren't for the intervention of the right people, the right support of friends, the right guidance, or even the right parents, they would also not be this successful. Like, अगर मैं एग्ज़ाम देने जाऊँगी, no matter how hard I have studied, अगर मेरे को रिक्शा वाला ही टाइम पे एग्ज़ाम सेंटर तक नहीं पहुँचाएगा, then no matter मैंने कितनी भी पढ़ाई की हो, it doesn't matter. At the end of the day, we are dependent on other people. On the contrary, if you encounter bad relationships and bad people in your life, then you may be subject to get cheated, get traumatized, get lied to, or just get distracted in general. Like, so much of our life is dependent on other people. So success, whatever that may mean for you, has something to do with getting people on your side. Not just any people, the right people. Like, I know such diplomatic people that would be bitching and cribbing about a particular person to me, but as soon as the person that they're bitching about walks through the door, they act like the sweetest person ever, because that particular person has something to offer that they really value. Now, you may be thinking opportunities, resources, money, a drive back home. Some people are just nice so they can get a drive back home. But like, the worst that I have been treated is that people have scammed me for emotional support. Like, I'm really good at giving pep talks and sort of giving you newer perspectives to your problem. I wish I could do that for myself. Otherwise, I wouldn't have to take therapy. But yeah, I'm really good at doing that for other people. So people often come to me and they reside in me for emotional support, and I give it to them. And as soon as they're okay and they're good to go, next thing I know, they're posting stories, they're hanging out with their friends, they're partying, and I'm just like, by the way, I'm not invited to all of these places because I'm the sad friend. I'm the one that they go to when they need emotional support, but when they're happy and partying, they don't really care. So the psychological phenomena that I'm going to explain today is not only going to make it easier for you to ask for help, but also, if you're always on the other side of the equation, the one giving the help, you're also going to understand what happens in your brain that makes you feel compelled to help the other person. Not once, but repeatedly. And I know that this is a very well-known phenomena, but I still encourage you to revisit it with me because you'll understand how to really use it in your life, and maybe you haven't looked at it from a perspective that I will offer. So there was this guy named Banjamin Franklin, and this is all the things that he was. I know, right? और हमसे एक भी चीज़ में excellence achieve नहीं हो रही, but he was most well known for being one of the founding fathers of the United States. And so when he was serving in the Pennsylvania legislature in the 18th century, he encountered a political adversary, मानी कि कोई एक ऐसा colleague जिससे उसकी ज़्यादा बन नहीं रही थी, and he wanted to win him over to his side. So that rival legislator had really negative opinions about Benjamin Franklin, and so Benjamin Franklin really wanted to win him over and establish better relationship with him. So what Franklin did was quite surprising, but also very simple. He asked for a favor. He asked for a rare book from that colleague's collection, and the colleague was very taken aback, but he handed the book to him. And after this small incident, they became better friends, and slowly they could overcome their rivalry and form a good friendship, and they just could work better together. And this is a big thing because it's really hard to garner trust in politics and establish good relationships. अब हमारी कंट्री में ही देख लो. All in all, what Ben Franklin concluded in this experiment was that if you can get somebody to perform a favor for you, you can literally hack their brain into liking you. Think of all the teachers, the clients, the managers that you could benefit from if you got them to like you, or if you got them to at least change their opinion about you if it's a negative one. So let's better understand what happened in the brain of Franklin's colleague when he performed that favor. So in the brain of that colleague, one thing is for sure, he has conflicting views. Now, before the experiment, he probably has some negative opinions about Ben Franklin. Maybe their moral values do not match. Maybe they have different political opinions, or maybe he thought that Ben Franklin was arrogant or rude. These are just assumptions, by the way. This is not written anywhere in this autobiography, but stay with me just for the sake of this explanation. So suppose these are all the reasons that he does not like Ben. Now Ben Franklin asks him for a book. Now I don't know about you, but if it were me and somebody asks me a book that I already have, then I usually lend it and I don't have any second thoughts about it. Even though मेरा आज तक का record है that जो भी books मैंने किसी को दी हैं वो मुझे कभी भी वापस नहीं मिली है, unless it was my sister, or sometimes my friends borrow multiple books and only like one comes back. So even after bad experiences, I'm just like, क्या यार, मैंने तो पढ़ी ली, so you can also have this book. And I always lend it, and you would too. Sticking to the topic, so presumably he had all of these negative beliefs, and yet he performed a favor for Ben Franklin, which is a positive thing. Like, he physically did something that was a good thing for him. So your brain is just like, what the fuck, I thought we didn't like this person. And so this what the fuck is called cognitive dissonance. Cognitive dissonance is the discomfort that arises when your brain is forced to hold two or more contradictory beliefs or attitudes at the same time. So because the mind does not like that cognitive dissonance and that friction between two sets of beliefs, it wants to ease itself. So to balance it out, his brain started to investigate all of the good things about Ben Franklin so that he could justify why he performed that deed for that person. Like, this is just what happens. Maybe in order to justify his favor, he thought that, oh wow, he's interested in the same books as me, or like maybe he thinks that he's quite smart because, you know, he asked for a book that I was reading. Or maybe he thought that Franklin wasn't that rude after all. Because it forced the colleague to think of all the good things about Ben Franklin, they could then break the ice for a better relationship. But this was just a small experiment performed by Ben Franklin at that time. It was until much later that somebody came along and gave it an actual term, which is cognitive dissonance. It was this guy called Leon Festinger. I'm not sure if I'm pronouncing it right, but just giving him the due credit. And he came up with this theory more than 200 years after Ben Franklin's experiment. But still, it's known as the Ben Franklin effect. So now that you know about this theory or have gotten a refresher on it, you can use it to ignite friendlier relationships with people that may be giving you a tough time. But a lot of you are on the opposite side of the spectrum and are actually performing favors for other people without exactly knowing why. Because you see, whenever somebody asks you for a favor, our immediate reaction is that, you know, we feel very seen, we feel very valued, and we feel like, oh, we are also capable of, you know, helping somebody out. So a lot of us are just like awestruck, and then we perform that favor, and then we perform another favor, and then we're just kind of stuck in a cycle. So ensure that you are always getting something in return for the value that you are giving out. Please do not be a doormat and allow people access to you, access your services, whatever that may mean to you, and then just leave or like walk all over you. And obviously I'm not talking about family here, or instances where you choose to be selfless on purpose, like when you want to do some social work. But remember that even when you are performing that social work, you are getting something in return, and that is fulfillment or external validation from the person that you are helping out. And you're also doing that without expectation, because in some way that person may be not as privileged as you. But damn, not all of your services are for charity, okay? And if that person is capable of giving you the value for your buck, whether it means paying for your services, if you're an artist, creator, therapist, freelancer, business, whatever, or if that person is capable of giving you that emotional support and they choose not to, and they do have like the same privilege as you, then you know that that's a waste of your time, and you need to be more aware of it. And yes, so just ensure that it's always a give and take relationships, because a lot of times we are taken for granted just because some person decided to ask for help, which a lot of us have difficulty doing. But I hope this video helps you understand that asking for help is not such a big deal, and it's actually not even seen the way that we may be seeing it, as long as we are not going around manipulating people or using their resources. So remember, don't try to live up to that self-reliant and self-made attitude, because it doesn't really exist. We are here for each other, to help each other. We are genuinely just all one entity, like Ek Omkar. We are all here to help each other. That is exactly what spirituality is. And I made a lot of videos on spirituality where like I'll put them somewhere here, and if you'd like, you can go watch them after this video. But I hope that you learned something here, and साडी वीडियो पसंद आई तो लाइक द कमेंट जरूर करियो, और साडी नवी वीडियो लिए सब्सक्राइब टू SuriNotSorry.